My name is Masheed and I'm a Muslim living in Sydney. My family are originally from Afghanistan, so we came here by a plane as refugees many years ago now. But basically I found spirituality in Australia, so I found my Islam, my faith here. So I could say that my experience has been positive, largely. This is the country that's sort of given me and my family a place to a solace, a home. We grew up here. This is our home, basically. When I go overseas now, Australia's home because there's no other home. So basically, I've been comfortable here, but obviously, unfortunately, in the recent events that happen overseas and all the crazy things that's going around the world, this has an effect. And although it doesn't necessarily affect me individually, I see the effect in the community. And there's subtle, perhaps, sort of racism that's there in the background. But by and large, it's been a beautiful experience. I can see more and more by observing some people, the community, the Muslim community, and definitely people who are linked to me, that they feel ostracized, especially the younger people now with the things that are happening. The young Muslim boy or girl that's in high school, for example, they have issues with their identity. This has ramification at every sphere of their life, their family, their belonging, their sense of significance. So all of this is really affected. If you turn on the television, there's all these polls and debates going on right now on the radio. I think it's a heated issue. It's an issue that's unfortunately making our society a little bit divisive, and people are on edge. And it's quite unfortunate. So I think the public opinion, I think people are genuinely scared. And this is really sad for me to see that, my fellow Australians are genuinely scared of Muslims and Islam. So we see through reports that there's a direct correlation with increased Islamophobia that sort of leads to radicalization, which is interesting as well. So the report that I'm writing on is looking at the concept of fear from a sort of theological perspective, and also looking at statistics like the relationship between the West and Islam, like let's say from the Middle Ages until now. And you find that a lot of this has been exaggerated. So fear is sometimes, it's implanted, it's in our human nature, it's a self-defense mechanism, but it can be very easily manipulated by, let's say, politicians, people who have certain social goals. So it can be abused, and it's there to control populations as well. And it's interesting that a lot of the fear between the West and Islam has been imagined. It's sort of like imaginary. When you really analyze it, for example, there's been more internal wars in the Middle Ages with the Christian kingdoms within Europe, let's say, as opposed to with Muslims and with, the whole idea of the Crusades in Islam. So that's an interesting fact that's already coming out. Give a Muslim a hug. Yesterday, interesting, you asked me that question. I was watching a news report from the States, I think it was a place in Ohio somewhere, where there was an anti-Muslim rally, and there was only one non-Muslim that showed up that was anti, like the one we have here, Reclaim Australia group. And because there's one lady, and obviously there was another group that was rallying but for pro-Muslims and Islam and harmony and whatnot. So they were having a discussion, and the lady was expressing her frustration about Muslims and Islam. And then one of the Muslim ladies and it was in front of a mosque, just goes up, she goes, "Can I give you a hug?" And she just went up and hugged the lady, and then it just broke the ice. Like the woman just broke down, and it just shows that we humans, these are just a positive emotion can just go a long way. Dialogue and education are very important, especially for a cohesive society to move forward. Respecting genuinely and loving one another. Like, it's a cliche term we hear of some spiritual circles or some church groups, but really that's the ethos that we need. If we were a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more understanding, then I think we can have a bit of space and create a bit of room in our hearts for other people. And I think that fear can only be broken if you just meet another person and have a dialogue and enter someone's shoes and in their life. And before you know it, all those blocks and barriers start to melt away. But I think, as others may have said as well, our leaders have a great role to play in terms of creating social harmony and a cohesive society. And I think that should be focused, that should be the focal point. And, certain policies and certain statements that are made, it creates further fear and tension and division in society. And that's not healthy for any multicultural nation, particularly ours that's so diverse.